think I bring the beat alive every time in the girl. Why me, go cry you, whatever. You're sexy and you know that I'm your favorite. Girl and boy, they are lightweight. Don't make a love video.
Hey, what's up, Wagwan? This is Yvonne, better known as Vonnie G, and I thank you so much for tuning into this video on my channel. Whether you've just watched this video or if you've taken the time to watch anything else, I greatly appreciate you. For those of you that are new, if I by any chance happen to captivate your attention, please by all means hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you can stay updated with any new content that I post. If you are returning, you're someone that already is subscribing, you have no idea how much gratitude I have towards you. Thank you so much for your patience. I truly apologize for being MIA. It was something that was necessary, but I still do apologize for being MIA. Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into this. So, just a little brief explanation of the background of how everything is. First of all, I want to apologize. I'm not necessarily apologizing for this, all right? For this, I'm just going to state this is a very, very informal video. It's very informal. I feel like I wanted to be as transparent as possible, especially regarding the topic at hand. I have even managed to get me some liquid encouragement. Some melon red stripe, which is my go-to drink when I am here, as well as the lemon, by the way. That is so good. And sorrel beer. Can't forget sorrel beer. Anywho, besides that, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure that I was coming to you as open as possible for anybody that actually cares. And if you don't care, I care, because this is something that's going on my channel, which is a general representation of me and who I am. Hence the name Life with Vonnie G. I was engaged before I became engaged. And this is about what happened from me, my perspective. You're always going to have, I say there's more than three sides to a story, but you know, the more popular belief is that there's three sides to one story. It's his side, her side, the right side, you know? His side, her side, the truth is what it is. I own my truth. That's all I can do. I am with this amazing man whom we will call D at the moment. And D has actually been in my life a whole lot longer than I had even known my previous engaged person, whom we'll call AK. D is and has always been like a great support system, my friend, someone that I do consider had been a lover, but perhaps a lover on different levels, at different capacities. Being a lover does not mean that you just having sex with each other, you know. We're not just banging our lovers out there. A lover is somebody that goes with you through the hard times and the good times and loves you through it, you know. And oh my gosh, I'm sorry. A lover is someone that promotes encouragement when you're down or at your lowest. A lover is somebody that just accepts you as you are, but at the same time supports you on the journey to becoming a better person. And that's what I got out of D. I truly love and appreciate him for everything that he is, and as well as everything that he isn't. And it is too early to be crying. Oh my God. I'm going to be honest. Like, I just could not let go of D. For whatever reason, I just never could let go of D. Anybody that came after D that I had met and got involved with, I am confessing it right here. I could never leave D alone. I didn't have the same type of relationship with D, like where I was sleeping with him or anything like that. I did my best to make sure that we were being respectful, and he was respectful as well. I will say that of my relationships that I was in. But I still never let him go. Fast forward to what we're here to talk about. I feel like it's already been a lot of time. I just had to get the background. So, AK, I met AK. AK and I started off where it seemed very good. I have been told and taught this recently, and I cannot say how much more factual it is. Be careful of who you meet and the representative that they present. Because I feel as if when AK presented himself to me, like, yes, he's a good guy. Don't get me wrong. He's a decent guy. He's a good guy. However, reality speaking, he's not the guy for me. Definitely not the guy for me. Not the partner to be getting together with to create a different life or anything, or a life together. None of that. He's not that for me. I unfortunately had to go through a lot of tears and anger in order to figure that out. A lot of heartache. But I'm grateful. Still grateful that it happened. So, when I had first got with AK, we had a situation occur where he, for example, this was one of the big red flags for me. It sounded jovial at the time. We were friends on social media before we had became involved with each other on a romantic level, right? So one day out of the blue, after we had been together for a few months, or quote unquote together for a few months, AK had deleted and blocked me. All right. Now, had he had just deleted me from his friends and then told me he didn't feel comfortable being friends or having his significant other as a friend on social media, I might have bought that, you know. But when you go ahead and you block me, we have a reason. Like, there's a reason for me to have doubt in you. There's a reason for my suspicions to be raised, right? I thought we had got through that, had presented that we should go to counseling. At first, AK was all for it. You know, I agree, let's do counseling. You know, I envision myself talking, and that's the types of things that he would tell me. But then when I actually matched my actions matched what I was saying and implying regarding getting a counselor, a therapist for a relationship, all of a sudden, I don't need anybody else inside of my business. Oh, but I thought you agreed that we were going to be doing this together. And he was like, absolutely not. Okay. Red flag number 2. I ended up, I said, I don't know how to go into all of this without going into all of it. But there were different situations that just weren't adding up. The math wasn't mathing. And instead of me just actually taking it on as the message of, you know what, Yvonne, back up, I just kept trying to force it. And There's so many things that tells you when you are feeling yourself forcing something, you need to either completely back up away from it, take a break from the situation. I don't know, maybe go back and revisit it after a while, or just back up all the way, because anything that's meant for you is not going to feel forced. It's not going to feel complicated. It's not going to be hard at all. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, things just became so much harder and harder with AK. I do not care what he thinks or tries to say, because also what I noticed is that there was zero self accountability. Zero. I had to go and pull myself back and be able to look at myself in the way that I was presenting myself, and the way that I was acting, the way that I was attacking situations. And I did a whole bunch of changes. I did. In order for me to become more self-aware. But when you're having it told to you that you are constantly the problem, it does something to you inside. Like, it breaks you down. I don't need anybody breaking me down. I was having conversations with D about the different issues that I was having. I wasn't telling him about every single thing, but he did know about a few of the bigger situations. One in particular was I had went to Montego Bay on a particular time to go visit AK. And AK felt that he didn't have to overextend himself. That's how I took it. He didn't have to overextend himself to come spend time with me. Oh, okay. He came once. And when he came, instead of actually like having a conversation, it was just about like getting sexed. Oh, you brought things for me. Okay, I gotta go. I'll see you later. That's not how I roll. that At that time, I was like, what? Like, you know how to brakes, slow down and pump the brakes. Like, what the hell is going on? But I don't know. I still was trying to force that square peg in that circle hole, dude. That just really was. But whatever. We live, we learn. However, I still ended up having a good time. I ended up connecting with some other ladies and just getting to know the lay of the land a little bit more. And just kind of focusing on me. It was nice. It was beautiful. So I went back to Vegas. And when I went back to Vegas, I did some more soul searching. I had some intense conversations with D. And it wasn't just one night out of the blue, I took it upon myself to go backwards and listen to every possible conversation, every exchange of text messages, everything between me and D, and then me and AK. When I went through those messages and everything with D, I started asking him questions surrounding the things that we talked about. And I, at that time, was able to actually hear and listen to him. I can't remember the difference. I don't know. I get them confused. But you know how they be like, I hear you. And you be like, but are you listening? Or I'm listening, yeah, but do you hear me? You know, it could kind of go either way. So that's why I'm saying I was listening and I was hearing what me and D were talking about. I was listening and I was hearing everything that AK was saying. And when I reconfirmed with D everything that we discussed, I just remember crying my eyes out. Now, with that cry, it wasn't crying because I was being a crybaby. It was crying because I felt like shit. I kept putting this man in the back burner and couldn't understand why all of these different situationships just kept failing before me. Now, I was engaged with AK, and I was actually going to go through the K1 visa process. With the K1 visa process, that would have been where I filed the paperwork for him to come to the United States in Las Vegas with me, and had the 90 days in order for us to get married. We made a plan together where we were only going to be in the United States temporarily, because I have always been vocal about the fact that I wanted to reside in Jamaica. That has been something that's been ongoing before I met any of these men. That's what it was. You know, so supposedly he understood that. But then it got to one day out of nowhere, we're talking and discussing about, the plans that we had set in place regarding movement back to Jamaica, especially because the cost of living in the United States had just started going crazy. It got to the point where I was like, let me be realistic with myself. I cannot afford to have a home or to get a home, especially after I have sold and given up everything that I have to make a home. What I have right now, I have clothes, things of that type of nature, as I am residing with family. But I don't have anything to make a home. I felt I was pushing myself trying to qualify to buy a house. Now, they qualified me, but could I afford it? No, absolutely not. And then to keep into mind that qualifying for these homes or to have the actual bills, child, it wouldn't have just been me. I'd have been paying for him too. There was no way that was going to work. No way whatsoever. But I kept explaining to him. I showed him through, numbers, everything, the whole 9 yards. And he wasn't trying to hear it. So he made the comment, well, what if I don't want to move back to Jamaica? Excuse me? Can you say that again? He's like, what if I don't want to move back to Jamaica? I don't want to live in Jamaica. You're entitled to what you want to do. But had you been open and honest with that at the beginning, I never would have entertained you. I honestly would not have. I do believe that you have to have compromise if you're going to be in a relationship. There may be situations, for example, with the way that the pandemic went. If, for example, I'm with George in a relationship and perhaps we're living full term in Jamaica, I happen to be a United States citizen, and George's job falls by the wayside and he's not able to work. We're not able to sustain our way of living in Jamaica at the present time because of the way that everything has just shut down. You know how the pandemic came and labeled people as essential versus non-essential. And child, it just shook everybody's world. The compromise, if their opportunity presented itself in the United States, is that I would have filed some type of spousal visa or something for George over in the United States, and perhaps it would have been in our best interest to go back to the United States for a few months or so just to get back on our feet and maintain our bills, but with, what we could in the United States. That's an example of compromise. But yeah, AK wasn't having it. Now, by this time that he's told me this comment, I had everything I needed for the visa application. I had booked the wedding chapel. I had made a wedding announcement to all of my friends and family. I had picked, at least an estimated date according to the agency that I was dealing with our visa and everything. And the wedding was set. Everybody was ready. They knew his name. They called him by his name in regards to, hey, how's AK? Or what's going on? When's the wedding? When's he coming? Blah, blah, blah. I felt embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed because on one hand, I have this man whom I'm supposed to be getting ready to marry and go through all of this stuff with, which costs, we're not going to talk about the cost. We're not going to talk about the cost. But I didn't know what to do. I did not know what to do. If on one hand, I was like, there's no way possible I can renege on all of this. That's so embarrassing. I had got myself involved in this relationship. Now I got to turn around and be like, oh, never mind, it's not happening. I was like, there's no way I'm going to do that. That is going to just tear me apart and make me look like the laughing stock. I was caring too damn much about what other people were thinking. When in reality, I needed to be like, you know what? F you, F your opinion. I'm going to do what makes me happy. Then as I got to talking more to D, in the same process and situation, I just realized I had made a mistake. I made a big, big, big mistake. I made a mistake. But then I ended up taking another trip, and I didn't even tell anybody where I was going, truthfully. But what I did was I ran away to where I felt I could focus more and better and have more sense of clarity. So I went to Negril. In Negril, when I allow myself to just be to myself, it's something about water that connects me. I connect with water. I love when water meets the earth. It's just something, I don't know, therapeutic about it. It feels as if the waves touch the earth and they're never the same. The waves are ever changing. And that's what I walked away with during that trip. The sky was clearer. I could think, I could focus. I did meet up with some friends and, spent some time with friends while I was there. But it still was just so eye-opening. And so I said, you know what? I gotta go to Kingston. So I came to Kingston. When I came to Kingston, a lot transpired. A lot did. Also to the point where, again, I was finding myself at this huge battle. I was having a battle back and forth with myself that I even tried to write off D. And, yeah, it was like I can't think of what the word is right now. Self-sabotage. Self-sabotage for real. However, by the time I got back to Vegas, I did take more time. Like, I was almost like a zombie mode. I can't say I was in a deep depression, but I was in zombie mode. And in that zombie mode, I just was quiet and still and allowed myself to think and focus on what was happening. Again, went back and re-listened to the conversations between the both, and yeah, I acted out on what was best for me. Now, with that decision, I needed to end things with SK. Before I even thought about trying to pick up with D, I knew I needed to end things with SK. I wasn't even focused on what D was saying at the time. because he really wasn't trying to throw anything to pressure me into nothing, but I just wanted to be able to say that I made my decision on my own without saying that I was what is it called, rebounding by any means. I owe that to myself. I didn't owe that to anybody else. I did share with a few people my decision. I received questions naturally. At first, I was like, you know what, fuck your questions. Because I know I needed to do something for me, what was healthy for me, and whatever. Carry it on like that. I ended things with SK. The way that ended in itself, I felt further confirmed that it needed to happen. I did. And especially because, you know what? All the shit that I sat through and fought through and tried to make it work left and right, and the way that you come back at me as if I did all of these wrongdoings and stuff, fuck you. That was my immediate thought. As time progressed, I became more mature about the situation, and I had opted to have a sit down and have a real conversation with him should he feel the need to have that. He always declined, pointed the finger, and so it never happened, and I'm cool. I'm good with that. So then I brought up in my conversation with D, and D just basically reassured that he was always there. He's always going to be there. And he lived up to that, even over the course of years. It's crazy how life works. So crazy. I pressed that reset button so fast when I realized how much of the weight it took off of me. And then in going into this with D, it was starting fresh, but it was a freshness that I was so deserving of from the very beginning. So, although it was starting all over, it felt familiar, it felt right, it was necessary, it was needed, and you can't deny anything that's for you. So, I was appreciative of that, and I still am to this day. There are times in life where you do have to start over, and it sucks. It fucking sucks. I'm not even gonna lie. It sucks. It sucks because you don't know what's gonna happen. You have to expect the unexpected left and right. However, when you have some support of any kind behind you, rooting for you and loving you through it, it makes it so much easier. And you just appreciate the end result a whole lot more. Don't be scared. If you're gonna be scared while you're in the process of doing your do-over. I knew I needed to change jobs because I was seeing that was weighing me down. So I did. I actually had already been focusing on a different career to begin with, but I needed, the way that it worked is that this other job or new job that I had got, it was actually providing me the experience necessary with the job that I envisioned myself doing, especially to make my transition from one place to another, regional, location wise. So, yeah, that's that. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty much where we are with it. I'm excited to start this new chapter. It's still considered a new chapter, especially because of the fact that we are getting ready to get married. You know, neither one of us has been married. Um, Going through the planning process is even easier for him. And he's just made it so simple. It's flowing. It's just flowing without forcing. I'm not feeling like I'm fighting him, nor do I feel like I'm fighting myself. If anything, I feel like I'm fighting people coming at me with their negative ass words and thinking that they're encouraging and loving me. I ain't ask you for shit. Please understand that any decisions that I decide on, I have thought them through. I've already had to fight through this shit by myself emotionally, you know what I mean, without these so-called naysayers or people who so-called love me. I don't need anything from you except for love and support. Please hear me out with that. I can't take it. I can't take it. That's that. Oh God. It just feels so good. It feels so good. I can't elaborate on that enough. But I think this has gone on longer than it needed to have been going on. So I'm going to just end it here. Any details or anything else in betweens, I suppose, they more than likely fall or reside within the rest of my videos. There are some videos that I may have to get rid of because of the involvement. I actually have gotten rid of quite a few already because of how they incorporate my ex. They involve SK. And as respect for myself, as respect for D, and as respect for SK, it's in my best interest to just take them down, which I will do. And with that also means I have to start over with this channel, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I'd rather be able to present myself in a more authentic way in the first place, so that I am actually giving you the best of me. So, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you tremendously. And love and light. Until next time.
If you wonder, what you gonna do? What you gonna do? Ready? Baby, I don't really know what you want to do. Maybe you can show me what you gonna do.